I would like to tell you a story. It's not a sob story, and neither an excessively sentimental one. And although pretty mundane, it's about love, disappointment, and restitution. And I think it might resonate with many of you. It's a story about a kid navigating through life in the late 80s in Italy, too young to go to movie theaters, but riding his bike in a neighborhood with older kids who told him of two movies featuring evil, scary monsters in space and brave astronauts and soldiers fighting them. You see, this very young boy had a thing for scary movies after being scarred for life by Jaws and Evil Dead, which is sneakily watched without parental supervision, but like many other boys, was also enamored with the idea of space and spaceships, so he dreamed of and thirsted for these two movies that ostensibly united both tastes, and as soon as he was of age to rent VHS tapes, he watched them both. He was blown away by them. The older kids were not lying. The second one, in particular, had something very special for him, a fictional world to get lost into, and characters he deeply cared for, with enough horror and heroism that he simply could not get enough of. When the third movie in the series came out, all his lofty expectations crumbled. The characters he cared for were all mercilessly killed off screen except for one, and the world and ambience he so desperately wanted to get lost into once more were nowhere to be found. He still enjoyed that movie, and many of the sequels, crossovers, prequels, novels, video games and comic books that came out later, but that magic was never recaptured because the potion's ingredients were carelessly scattered throughout every piece of media, but never again combined, each and every one, in a single item and in the right amount. Despite becoming an adult along the way, somewhere inside that kid was still yearning for those emotions, clamoring to see his sorrow vindicated, and that's exactly what happened on Wednesday, August 14, 2024. It's a rare occasion to see a wrong righted after decades, and just as rare to have high expectations surpassed by reality. But both things combined, that's a once-in-a-lifetime event, I guess. I had very high expectations for Alien Romulus, as those of you who have seen my previous videos know. My prediction was that this film would revive the franchise, and despite not having any data regarding its financial results yet, I can already say that as far as I'm concerned, among all the movies directly or indirectly connected to the franchise, Romulus is the only legitimate and righteous successor to Ridley Scott's Alien and James Cameron's Aliens. This is a spoiler-free review, so I cannot address specific plot points and references, and neither say which of my predictions were right, but I will do that in a full spoiler review soon to follow. This limitation doesn't prevent me from explaining why Alien Romulus is the movie Aliens fans wanted and more, but to do that I need to briefly separate the storytelling part from the alien part. What makes a great movie? Well, stripped down to the essence, a great movie should make us care, it should make us feel. To do that, it employs and juggles several moving parts: a tight script, visual immersiveness and aesthetic sensibility, great sound design, costume design, special effects, and a keen sense of storytelling, among others. But none of these things can suffice without the most important component: compelling characters. The problem with modern cinema is that without a single person having full creative control of the whole process, inconsistencies and frictions among said moving parts arise, specifically when the company financing the project does not trust the director's vision and starts meddling with the production. It almost invariably impairs the quality of the final product. I'm happy to report to you that this is, without a doubt, a film where creative control transpires in every nook and cranny. It's clear that Fede Alvarez was running, no pun intended, a tight ship during production, and this is not meant to diminish the talents and efforts of all those involved. It simply means that the director was allowed to direct the orchestra without interference, and it paid off in spades. I will go ahead and address what impressed me the most about this film: the script. I was awestruck during the whole experience by how surgically precise and coherent the entire script is. The movie rolls from beginning to end without a single dull moment. I was completely engrossed by the story, and I could not detect even the shadow of a plot hole. The best analogy that springs to mind for Alien Romulus is that of a top-tier Swiss watch, and for Fede Alvarez, of course, that of a meticulous, uncompromising master watchmaker. Every single event in the movie makes sense, and most of all, every single character is three-dimensional. Perhaps the only one we don't get to know enough is Navarro, but for obvious reasons. As the trailers have given away from early on, she is the first character to fall victim to xenobiology. This does not mean that she feels like a disposable character. In fact, no one does. They all have realistic personalities, behaviors and motivations, and in this regard I want to put the general skepticism towards the actors' young age to rest. They all brought their A-game to the project, and I never had the feeling of watching kids. Eileen Wu is great as the hardened, no-nonsense Navarro. Spike Feared nailed the prick for a good reason Bjorn. Archie Renault played the selfless leader with competence and finesse, and Isabella Merced proved that she has the range to go from lovable, optimistic kid's hero to channeling absolute terror and desperation. Her performance managed to make me live the vicarious experience of being chased by a dreadfully aggressive, relentless and unpredictable creature in the claustrophobic and unwelcoming decks and corridors of a space station. The true pillars of Romulus' cinematic experience, though, are Rain Carradine and her adoptive artificial person brother, Andy. Their relationship is the true heart of the movie, and Kaylee Spaney and David Johnson unquestionably knock it out of the park. There's simply too much humanity in how they hold on to and protect each other, and for the first time since 1986 Aliens, I have felt fully invested in characters within this fictional universe. I genuinely hoped for them to survive and stay together, and for Andy to be able to break free from Weyland-Yutani's grasp and, similarly to a sci-fi horror version of Pinocchio, become a real human. Kaylee Spaney's performance has been almost unanimously praised as formidable so far, and I concur, but I can't help acknowledging a very meta and very ironic significance to her character. Rain is by no means a tough character. She's perceptive, yes, but not a genius, and neither a brazen warrior. She is insecure, and her heroism consists in choosing to stand up to terrible circumstances. And herein lies the irony of it all. As paying customers, we are in a scenario where, in the last few years, most big Hollywood studios have been chastised by vocal fans, and with good reason, I must say, for putting a political agenda above their contractual duty to entertain. They've been marooned and lampooned for churning out an endless list of female protagonists whose primary attributes are to be invincible from the get-go, intrinsically superior to the male gender, capable to overcome any obstacle without effort, and often with a smug, holier-than-thou attitude towards audiences. Essentially, most female superheroes and female action movie protagonists in the last few years have committed the worst storytelling sin in existence. They have no character development, no character arc whatsoever. Isn't it funny that the first truly heroic, realistic and relatable female protagonist in a long time comes from the studio that is most responsible for the entire industry's lapse in judgment? Isn't it funny that after damaging so many intellectual properties and ignoring fans' collective outcry, the first movie in a long-lasting franchise to give fans exactly what they want was manufactured within that same woke, inebriated studio by an author unburdened by executives meddling with his vision? Make no mistake, my dear viewers, Rain has nothing to do with those characters. She's fragile, but compassionate. She's not physically, morally, or intellectually superior to everyone else, but she chooses to do the right things and summons the strength required to defeat her opponents, from the desire to protect humanity and those she cares for. This is what defines a strong character, whether male or female, and Rain is a hero I rooted for during the entire runtime, thanks to the nuanced, deep, and heartfelt portrayal of actress Kaylee Spaney. But this is an alien movie, and although not the true protagonists of the movie, what I went in for is to be terrorized and sickened by them, the Xenomorphs. Could the director give us compelling characters, breathtaking action, a poignant and captivating story, and do justice to one of the most iconic monsters in the history of cinema? Yes, he could, and he did. Romulus gives us the best, scariest, and most carefully designed practical effects and visuals of the titular monsters in every single developmental phase. At the time of the trailer's releases and of the first footage shown to people during conventions, many outlets stressed how Alvarez made the facehuggers scary again, and they were absolutely right. But except for the ovomorphs, or eggs, which are not present in the movie, the chestburster scene is the most disgustingly realistic and captivating in the entire franchise. The skin shed by the growing specimen, the cocoon it built for itself and its body, as well as the body mechanics, are simply flawless. Besides, we get to witness and understand some key details about the infamous perfect organism workings. Romulus expands on the mythology of the Xenomorphs in a way no other movie has ever done since Aliens, and except for a small detail I was not too happy with, which is an inconsistently rapid development of the chestbusters compared to what happens to John Hurt's character in Alien, everything is consistent and believable. And I really hope that if there will be sequels helmed by the same director and team down the line, the biological principles established here will be maintained. As mentioned earlier, I cannot get into details about the second and third act of the story here, but another aspect I was simply taken aback and delighted by is that whether aesthetically, dialogue-wise, story-wise, or in terms of fictional technology depicted, the director has managed to insert direct references and sneaky homages to essentially every single film, directly or indirectly related to the franchise. Seriously, for an Alien nerd like me, it was an immense parallel pleasure during the runtime to spot all these details and Easter eggs, and I can't wait to detail them in a future spoilery review. In conclusion, I was hesitant to use the term masterpiece because I wondered if my deep, long-standing love for the Alien franchise and mythos could impair my judgment, but I will let the individual facts speak for themselves. Alien Romulus has a clear, precise and consistently engaging story from beginning to end, without a single dull moment or plot discrepancy. Relatable, well-crafted and well-acted characters, including two of the best protagonists in the entire franchise, exceptional set and creature design, stunningly engrossing cinematography, well thought out and captivating dialogue, a persistently scary and exciting atmosphere, an outstanding amount of references and Easter eggs which add to an already high rewatchability factor. Moreover, the film manages to expand on the alien mythology and make it even more interesting, break the mold from the recent Hollywood trend of political message over entertainment, maintain an independent feel throughout, and provide a cinematic experience that requires to be savored in a movie theater, better than most big studio releases in the last few years. For all these reasons, I rate Alien Romulus a masterpiece. As I finish this review, according to Deadline, the movie is on track to end its first weekend with a $100 million global box office, which, considering the $80 million budget and the overwhelmingly positive reviews that could result in strong word of mouth and more profitable weekends, it is most likely that Alien Romulus will be a big financial and critical success for Disney, prompting them to greenlight one or more sequels, with Fede Alvarez still in the driving seat. This would confirm my original prediction about Romulus saving and reviving the Alien franchise, and in this regard, even though I doubt he'll ever see this video, I have a message for auteur Fede Alvarez. I want to thank you, sir, for making the kid inside me feel vindicated. I want to congratulate for this remarkable achievement and success, and wish the best of luck for your future. I also have a little request for you. I have nothing to teach you whatsoever, and what I'm about to ask you stems from an emotional standpoint more than from rational thought. Please, pretty please, if the stars align and you get to do one or more sequels, now that you have gifted us with great characters to care for, could you avoid killing them off screen? This and this were some of the most disheartening rug pulls in the history of cinema. Thank you, sir. And thank you guys for watching this review. If you're interested in another fantastic film released this year, here's my review of Late Night with the Devil. I wish you all a great day, and I will see you in the next one.